Hello and welcome to TLC Tech Talks. Today we're going to be talking about Google Sites for classroom administration purposes. My name is Clint Huntrods and I am a TLC graduate assistant. The first thing we'll begin with is just logging in to the actual Google program. As you'll see here, we have a regular Firefox start page. From here we'll type in Google. Under the main Google site, in the top row, you'll see the option for More. If you click on the More tab, it gives you a few more options. Scroll to the bottom of that, and then under Even More, the Google program will bring you to a few different options. If you scroll down here, we will find under Home and Office the Sites option. Here, if you have a Gmail account, you can sign in and automatically create your Google account. If not, and you want to sign in with a school or some sort of university, Hotmail, Yahoo email account, you can just click on Sign Up at the top right corner of the page. For those who actually have a Gmail account, and you'll see I do here, we'll just click Sign In. Once signed in, we'll see the options that we have created in previous sites, and since the first thing that I'll demonstrate is how to create a new site, after that we will look at some templates. Creating a new site that is absolutely blank will just allow selecting the blank template and then giving us the option to name a site. For the purposes here, we will name my site Mr. Huntrods 3rd grade class. Automatically underneath that, under site location, it will add in Mr. Huntrods 3rd grade class at the end of the sites.google.com/site. And the one thing I would recommend for people is if they have a unique last name, you can use that and get away with it. If you have a more familiar last name that perhaps someone has already created a site similar to that, you might have to get a little bit more creative under the site location, and it'll let you know as you go whether this is allowed or whether it is not allowed. Here we have the chance to select a theme for 3rd grade. Looking at the options here, we will choose one entitled Treehouse, and then continuing to scroll down, we will see the other options that we need to look at. Under More Options, we can describe our site. This would allow our site to be better searched through a Google browsing if we so choose. If not, we'll just leave it blank for this time. And then this does not contain mature content suitable only for adults. The last step that we have here is to type the code that is shown. This can be one of the more challenging parts of creating a Google site, actually, because sometimes these are very challenging. Even when you think you've gotten it right, sometimes they think otherwise. So I'm typing what I see here, and then I will scroll back up here to where the red Create button is, and this will all of a sudden be automatically creating my site, which it does. Very simply, very easily. You'll now see that we have a main home page, which they're naming it, and then on the left side of the screen we have a sitemap, which currently only consists of one page, and then we have the option to edit our sidebar if we so choose now or in the future. One of the first things that I will show you is how to edit the page. So in the top right center of our page we have what looks like a pencil. If I scroll my mouse over that, you'll see that that is the Edit Page button. This takes this page from a read-only page to an actual edited, editable option page. Here we could type in whatever it is for any sort of classroom administrative purposes. We could type welcome back to school. We could leave a message for parents, students, whoever it is that our classroom administration page is actually targeting. One thing that I will show you is that this works very similar to a Microsoft Word page in that we can highlight this. We could change the font to larger, smaller. we could go to a few different options on fonts, not a lot, but we do have a few options there. If we make a mistake, we can obviously do the undo button to correct that. We could bold, and this is the option to create a link, which we will not do at this time. Numbering, and this will give us a little tab information. We could center our text if we so choose. Again, really similar to the options that we get in any sort of Microsoft Word, or even PowerPoint for that matter, when we are doing text editing. The next thing that I would like to show you is that anytime you do make a change and you want to proceed to the next step, in the top right corner, right where we saw that, kind of by where we saw that edit button earlier, we have the option to save our page. This is a good idea as we're going through so that we don't lose anything that we've created. However, I will note that Google does try to save constantly as you're working on your programs, but it is good to get in the habit of saving your work, obviously, in Google Sites as well as any other program that you are using. The next thing that I'd like to show you is how to add another page to your Google site. Here, just to the right of the Edit Page button, we will have a New Page button. And if we click on New Page, it will first give us the option to name that page. Here we might say volunteer page. If we are looking for volunteers for an upcoming event at our school, in our class, we could create a volunteer page, for example. This will automatically show us that our page URL will turn into what we saw before, /volunteer-page. If you would like to change that URL, you're free to do so as you see fit. Select a template to use. We're not doing an announcement, a file cabinet, or a list. We will just do a basic web page. And we would like to not put this at the top level. That's where our home page goes in our course organization and sitemap. We would actually like to put this under our home page. And then obviously we don't have very many options at this point to choose another location. So all that set, we just go to Create Page, and there we have it. A few things that you'll notice is this automatically took us into the edit page mode. They assume that we're immediately probably going to add something to this volunteer page. And I will bring your attention to the bottom of the page where we have the option to add files. Here's where you can attach a file. It could be one that you currently have on your computer, or it could be one that you currently have in Google Docs or your Google Drive, for example. The last thing that I'll show you is a comment option. And this is used a lot for instructors to give feedback to students, for parents to give comments about something that they see on the page, and you know, I know one instructor who even uses students write on each page, and then they have other students come in and make positive comments about their writing, just giving the students in early elementary years a chance to express their thoughts, especially through a typing process. So if we chose to add a comment here, we could do so. That's more something that we'll see in the future, not actually as you're creating the page. So here, if we take the main box here, we could insert a lot of different options. We have the option to insert an image, which we could have, we could go find one on the web, we could have one saved on our computer, again we could have something in Google Docs. If we were trying to create a link, for example a link to the regular school page, which we're not working within here, we're working outside of it under a Google site page, a table of contents, subpage listing. A really interesting thing at the bottom here is we can add some gadgets, and if we scroll down and click on more gadgets, this will give us quite a few options. One of the most popular you'll see is the Google Calendar, and this is nice because it can actually sync up with your Google Drive account, and anything that you currently have in there will go right into this page. Now obviously if you don't want it to do that, you have other options as well to customize as you see fit. What I will do right now is just select this Google Calendar gadget, and here we have a chance to display it as a mini calendar, or we can make it a little bit bigger. I'm just going to go with the default page here, and I will preview it just to make sure it looks like I want. And what I see here is perfect, so I will click OK, and all of a sudden the Google Gadget calendar comes right in. Now, what you need to do to actually see this in action and see it work is to go to Save Page, and then now we can see exactly what we have. We have the nice month Outlook calendar here, and then some of our events listed at the bottom of the page that we can customize as we see fit. Okay. The next thing that I'd like to do is create a new page, and we'll just name this page Administrative Information. Here we're going to list a few things more that our classroom is going to list in communicating with parents, some of the administrative information that they might need as their student begins the school year in my class. As you'll see, again, it wants to put this at the top level. We would actually like this to be not under the volunteer page, but choose a different location. Here we can put it wherever we see fit, and we could actually put it right there under Home. Okay, and it automatically comes up in a edit page mode. Let's look at Insert again to see what other options we have for gadgets. Okay, we have an RSS feed for students or for instructors who are using Twitter, any sort of feeds that they are interested in. You have the option to add news coming out of Google. Here's your Twitter option. We have a YouTube news element, Twitter follow, Google Wave, a variety of options that Google puts out there. Google Share is another popular one. What we'll decide for now is that we like where we're at, and we'll actually look to format this a little bit. A few options that we have are to change the formatting in a variety of ways. We can insert the table, and again, this works very much like Word, a 3x3 table, just highlight what it is that you need, and then options after we have a table in there. And we could also change the layout. We're currently with one column, which is described as simple. That could be moved to 2-column, 3-column. Beyond that, I would argue that it starts to get a little bit more messy. So keeping with one of those simple layouts, I think, will go a long ways to keeping your website concise and easily accessible for the reader who is out there. Right, we can see that we are on the administrative information page. If we would go back to the volunteer page, you will see that how easily this site is to navigate. One thing I'd like to do now is to add another new page, and let's just title this page Field Trips. This might be a chance for us to create a sign-in for parents who would like to accompany and chaperone on field trips. This could also give information about a field trip that the students have been on or are going on, and giving the parents a chance to find a few things that they might be able to talk to their children about when they're at home. We'll put this page in a different location here, and we'll go ahead and throw it right underneath Home and create that. Once we're on the Field Trips page, let's go back and look at some other options that we have under the Insert tab here. You'll see again we have the option to put in a calendar, a chart, a document, and this again is a Google document. Any sort of drawing that we have. Here we could create a group, and this can be done through some of the options with Gmail, but you can have a group created, and then here we could have a chance for them to perform some sort of task on this page, such as signing up or communicating with each other through that. What I'd like to show you now is a map page. The first thing you'll see is that docs.google.com wants to know my location. Right here and now I do not necessarily want to share my location, so I will close that. And then what this wants to do is to find where on, and as you'll see from the map, the entire globe we would like to insert this map focused on. So let's say that our field trip is going to be going to the McBride Bird Museum at the University of Iowa campus. And you'll see here McBride Hall, Iowa City, Iowa comes up. If we choose that, we can then zoom in a little bit, and you'll see we have the nice option shown below of downtown Iowa City. That works great, so we will click Select. Do we want to border around Google Maps? Sometimes it does look good. Again, it's up to the instructor as to how they see fit. Title, McBride Hall, that works great, and we'll let the size that comes as default work for us here. So if we save that, we automatically insert that here. If we want to align this a little bit differently, we have that option. We have the text wrap options, and then we have some properties. What I'm going to do now is just click Save, and then I'm going to show you how great this map really is in terms of someone being able to search for exactly what they're looking for. This now becomes essentially the same search bar that you have when you're on a regular Google site when it comes to searching to find a certain place, something nearby, getting directions to go there. And this would be a great help to any parents who are looking to meet up with the school as they're going on their field trip. Again, we have the option satellites, terrain, and even Google Earth. So, if we have the plugin. Moving on from there, one thing that many people would recommend is that you do not have anyone who is viewing your page have to scroll more than once. So this map is a little bit large. One thing that I'm going to show you how to do now is to edit the page. And what we're going to actually do is get rid of that Google map for the time being. A few different options on how we can do that. One of the easiest is to put the blinking cursor after the document, or after the map, and then just click delete. Let's go back to insert and see what some of the other options that we have are. Here we could put a presentation in. We could put a video in, and this is something that classroom instructors will use a lot of times to show their parents who might come home after a day of work and ask their students who come home after a day of school, what did you do at school today? And the students don't really give them a lot of answers or anything in depth. They talk a little bit about recess, what they had for lunch, and that's about it. The video option really allows instructors to videotape whether they have a guest speaker, whether they do take a trip, or whatever it is that they were working on during that day. Take that video, either upload it to YouTube, upload it to Google or Google Docs, and then they can place this right on the page. So that when parents get home, they can log in real quick, look and see exactly what their students have done during the day, and that really allows and fosters a good conversation about exactly what these students are experiencing while they are at school. Those are some of the basics that you have as options for creating a new Google site. The thing that I would encourage everyone to do is to get in and explore a little bit within Google, because there are a lot more options than I have shown here. This is just a basic introduction to some of the things that you could do to communicate with parents. What I will show you next, if I click Save here, and is going back to my whole page and then going back to my whole site option. And then I'm going to create a new site, and instead of opening up a blank document, I'm actually going to use a template that's already been created. So if I click on Create again, then I have the option to select a template. Interestingly enough, Classroom Site comes up as the #1 option here. If I go ahead and choose that, I now have just found a template that another instructor has used in administrative purposes for their classroom that I can now not necessarily copy, but take their template and then customize it as I see fit. Again, I'll name my site Here I'll go to 4th grade since I've already used the 3rd grade option, and you'll again see how that Google site web address follows through. Select a theme. Typically with the templates, they already have a pretty good theme, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip that, and under More Options, just kind of leave it as it is. Then I will go to type in what I hope I can decipher. Those of you watching this could guess differently if you'd like. I will try that and try to create it. Hopefully I have some success. And it looks like I did. So now you'll see a template that gives me a chance to work around and just kind of scroll through, see how it is that they set it up, see how I might do things differently or do things the same, and just kind of customize the template that's here. You'll see that they have a Meet the Teacher spot on the left side here in the sidebar. Here I could place my picture, obviously, and take Mrs. Smith and her two beautiful children out of here. You'll see options for class announcements, class calendar, reading lists, useful links that they believe, class photos, any sort of forms and documents that the parents might need. A poll is another good option. And then you'll see that Google gives me some template tips. You know, how should I change the sidebar? Some other helpful hints as I'm working with templates. That's one great thing about Google, is that if you have questions, strangely enough, just Google search it, and they have a really good support system there for any of the Google documents or Google sites. If we scroll around this, looking at the homework assignments, we'll see that we have a little bit of homework to do, and you'll see when that was posted, typically by the instructor. And obviously this is not in English, but we could just edit that to be whatever it is that we want, and then we can have some different pages here as well. Under the extra credit page, you'll see that we can change this to be whatever it is. If we wanted to put a presentation in where the students were to follow through the presentation at home and then either write a response or answer some questions at the end of it, this would be a great place for that. Contact, this is where we could put in the school address and all of these things at this time. So, what we have gone through so far is creating Google Sites for classroom administrative purposes, and what you will see is that you have two options. You have the option of finding a template that already exists, and if you scroll under the Find a Template, we just chose the first one that came to us. There are actually quite a few options, probably a few hundred that you can choose from, and you do get a chance to preview those to see which one you like the best. The other thing that we can do is just work from scratch. We can start to put in the background that we see fit, and we can customize our pages however it is that we would like. One option is not better than the other. It just depends on what it is that you're looking for here. The last thing that I'd like to talk about before we go would be the sharing. So if we click on Share in the top right of this page, this is going to give us a lot of different options on how it is that we share this page. And the first thing I would recommend is that you talk to your local school about what their sharing policy is and what their policy is on how much of students' names and students' work that you can show. And then you'll see that once you've covered that and you have created a Google site accordingly, you could share this through Gmail, Google+, Facebook, or as a Twitter. And the other thing is that there's really two options here to give people access. The first one would be to create this as a private website, and then only those who have the link are able to access it. The other option, well, I guess there's two more options, would be just make it public. So absolutely anybody on the web can find this through a Google search and view it. And then the last one would be to add people via my Google Contacts or by email address, for example, a parent list, for who has access to this site. And then from there we might want to notify people via an email about this site when we do add them, so that they know what it is that we're giving them access to in the link that they have to get to this site. So that's the last thing that we would look to do, is how we want to share this site depending on its purpose, and how we designed it, and then really again talking to our administrators with our school and looking at the policies of if we create a classroom page that is outside of whatever it is that the school might have, and it is actually a Google site, how can we work around to make sure that we are following school guidelines and school policy when it comes to sharing, access, and searchability of students. One thing that I know instructors a lot of times will do is, instead of using students' names, actually abbreviate or use initials. And that's again another thing to think about as you are creating this site and as you are talking about the students or sharing information that is personal to the students as you go forward. With that, I would like to draw your attention to the information at the bottom of this page, and this has been a Google Sites for classroom administration purposes offered by the Teacher Leader Center. For more information, go to the Teacher Leader website at the link at the bottom, or email me, Clint Hunt-Rods, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have regarding this presentation.